Exotic Gaming here, back with a video covering some lesser known survival games on Steam. The goal of this video is to hopefully show one or two games that you haven't seen much about yet that fall within that survival game type niche. I'll give you a very brief overview about the game and show a little bit of its gameplay as well, and then you can expand upon that if you're into the game itself. I'll list prices and reviews on Steam at the end of the video if you want to come back to that for reference, and let me know what you guys think of these games in the comments. First up here is a game called Subsistence. The game is still currently in early access and costs $14 on Steam. The gameplay itself is pretty much open world survival game standard. It's pretty similar to a lot of other games, but the graphics and outdoorsy feel really make this game stand out as like a more wilderness survival type of environment. Now, a lot of what makes this game unique is the fact that you can battle AI NPCs who build bases themselves. You can take these bases and steal their stuff, go hunting with their guns, or do whatever you want really. The environment is also very hostile to the player, and it can end up causing you to die. This game is challenging in the beginning, and its seasons and hostile animals and enemy AI will not make that easier. The graphics of this game are just hard to pass up on itself though, and a lot of the tech tree and lighting environment of the game itself just makes it hard to pass up. Next up is a game called Icarus. This game calls itself a session-based PvE survival game, and it currently costs $30 on Steam. The game can be brutally challenging, especially as a solo player, so keep this in mind when you see the reviews for it on Steam and people complaining about this. The general concept of the game is that players are sent down to different locations on this planet called Icarus. They must complete missions and just generally survive the harsh environments for a set amount of time, and then they can come back up and level up their tech tree and their items and talents. Those who do come back to orbit also get better locations for the next round of survival training. If you just want an easy survival game, I wouldn't really recommend this one for you, but if you want something that's more challenging that you can play with other people and enjoy different gameplay strategies, then this is probably the game for you. But if you want something that's easy for solo playthroughs and building big bases, I wouldn't really recommend it because this game isn't really about that. It's more about just surviving different environments. Then we have Green Hell, which is the next game on our list. It's a more of a horror type of survival game on Steam, and it costs $25. It's kind of like The Forest, if you've ever played that before, and it's focused around a guy trying to make his way through the Amazon jungle, where he must survive its brutal environment and the people out there who might want to kill him. This game, I like how it has more of like a story feel to it, kind of like The Forest, as I mentioned, and you learn these survival skills along the way as you try to find the girl. If you want more of like a horror type of survival game that's more realistic with a story, this is the game for you, especially if you're into the Amazon jungle environment survival type of stuff. The graphics in this game are also pretty much second to none. Maybe Icarus is up there with it, but they are pretty stunning. Project Zomboid is a game I have been playing for years, and it's on Steam for $20 currently. It's pretty straightforward for a zombie survival game with a nice change up in the camera's location. The game world is centered around some zombie-controlled cities that players will need to either flee or secure a base within. The game features a pretty intense player build system and level up system, and the zombies in the game are often in huge hordes, and the early game fighting can often leave players discouraged from continuing to play. The game lets you know that you are supposed to die eventually, and it lets you know right when you start, this is how you die. Some other features include building bases, expanding your housing, farming, fishing. All of these are part of the game, and there's so much that goes into building a base. All the world settings are fully customizable as well if you're having trouble with the game or the XP or the amount of zombies. I would just recommend starting on normal and seeing how you enjoy the current level of hordes in the game, which are massive. Our final game is Craftopia, which is more of like a silly anime looking game, survival action game. You can find it on Steam currently for $25, and it's still in early access with very positive reviews. This game has more of a happy, light feel to it compared to the other games we looked at, and combines a mix of dungeon exploring, farming, building, factory automation, and character progression. It's a very broad-ranging RPG survival game, for sure. But it is pretty deep for how simple it looks. It has vehicles and multiplayer functioning and animal taming. Some of the creativity that lets players ride all kinds of different animals is awesome. This game just has a lot going for it with all the different concepts they managed to merge into one game. It's like a fantasy survival RPG game from an anime world. These are the game's descriptions and reviews. Check them out if you found any of the gameplay footage interesting or fun, and let me know if you got any cool survival games that not a lot of people know about. I will check them out. And as always, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want some more content. Appreciate anyone who watched, and I'll see you next time.